On today's episode, we're going to take a little road trip and we're going to cross the Bay Bridge and go to Oakland, California to do some record shopping. So why don't you come along, will you? Hey there and welcome back to Sonic Safari, a channel featuring tales of record collecting. I am your host, Marcus, a Swedish hipster lost in the fog in San Francisco. So last week we looked at how I buy my vinyl records, meaning the sources to find the records that I want at reasonable prices. So if you haven't checked out that episode yet, please do. I really enjoyed making it. For now, let's go digging for some records. So it is true that I do most of my record shopping here in San Francisco, as we have tons of great record stores here, including Tunnel Records, Originals, Vinyls, and of course the almighty Amoeba Records. But I do try to go to Oakland at least once a month, as they have some really great record stores over there, and I wanted you to come with me this time. But before we leave, please like and subscribe. It helps me more than you think. Okay, so let's jump in the car and drive across the bridge. No, not that one, the other one, to get over to Oakland, California, which takes about 20 minutes or so if traffic allows for it. So I wouldn't say that there's a significant difference between the stores in San Francisco versus Oakland. And today we're going to visit three, but there are tons more. And one I wanted to mention is Mars Records, which only recently opened in 2020. And it's an amazing store, but unfortunately today it was closed. So first up, we have Open Mind Music that opened 1994 on Divisadero Street in San Francisco, which is only a couple of blocks away from my house, by Henry Wimmer, a local DJ with a stunning 30,000 record collection. The store had its ups and downs, making a name for itself as having great rare records, but also getting kicked out by unsympathetic landlords and experienced a devastating fire, thus taking some time out from the store before ending up in Oakland and reopening in 2017. So I love Open Mind Music. I think it's a great store. They have a good balance between new and used stuff. They have a good inventory, and I especially like that they have a couple of crates in the front for rarer records. And today I decided to pick up this one, which is N Bossa, which I'm not familiar with, to be honest. It was released in 1999 on Schema, which is a label I've never heard of, but I decided to pick it up because Yasa Nova is on here, and that's a DJ collective from Berlin that I have a couple of records of, and it tends to be bossa nova, jazzy, loungy feeling, and this is no difference. It's just that this has a bit of a more electronic spin on it, but really happy that I picked it up. So next up, I went to Stranded Records, which is the retail arm of our archival label Superior Viaduct that has locations in San Francisco, Oakland, and New York. This is also a great shop. It's a good balance of new and used records, and it's especially a good spot if you're looking for artists off the beaten path. If you're familiar with the record label Mr. Bongo, this store is very much a similar vibe to that. So here I picked up a couple of records, and the first one is this one, Beach House's Once Twice Melody. This is their 8th studio album, and this is the silver version that also comes with this poster that I'm not going to open up completely, because then I will be here for the rest of the day trying to put it back together. But I remember seeing the Beach House for the first time at the Treasure Island Music Festival, which unfortunately is no more, but it was hosted at Treasure Island, which is an island right in between San Francisco and Oakland. So the scenery was just perfect. You have the San Francisco skyline and the Golden Gate Bridge right behind the scene, and the music was fantastic. Death Cab for Cutie, The National, and of course these guys. So I must admit I lost track of them for a while, but the reviews of this were so good that I decided to pick it up. And this is Prime Beach House and their signature lazy dream pop, so happy to have it. So at Stranded I also picked this one up, and this is Sarah Vaughan in Hi-Fi. So this was originally released in 1955, and it's a compilation of hers, and this is the 2006 reissue on Pure Pleasure. And Pure Pleasure is one of these labels that I really trust, and I tend to pick up them when I see them because they're really high quality and good sounding, and this one is no exception. So if you don't know Sarah Vaughan, she has this amazing ability to emote through her voice. It can always be almost overwhelming at time, but just a fantastic jazz singer, so super happy to have this one. So last up, a somewhat different place, Groove Yard on Claremont Avenue. First of all, don't be alarmed by the aesthetics of this store. Yes, it's dusty, it's unorganized, there are records and boxes everywhere, but there is also some real gold in here if you look beyond that, especially for jazz lovers. It's one of the few places where you can find grails in the crates and not on the wall, in part because the owner, Rick Ballard, was the only US distributor in the early 70s of American jazz recorded in Europe. Okay, so I admit it, I absolutely love this place. I love everything about it, and I found some really great records there in the past. And today I picked this one up. This is Pepper Adams with the Tommy Banks Trio. So this is the Record Store Day release from this year on Reel to Reel. It's a live recording from 1972. And I love it that they put the original poster there in the back. So if you don't know the baritone saxophone, you can partly see it there on the cover, covering his face, because that's how big it is. And the sound is very similar. It's big and bombastic, and I don't really have a tons of expectations when I got this record, but I must say that it sounds absolutely phenomenal, super swinging, and yeah, very happy to have it. So I also picked up this one, Bert Dahlander, and this is Skal, which means cheers in Swedish. This is an OG on Verve from 1958. And the interesting thing to me, apart from having an amazing cover and of course being a Swedish jazz musician, is that it was actually recorded here in California, and it's vibes driven, so I don't really have a lot of records where the vibes are so prominent, but super swinging, it sounds amazing. And I think this record very much represents the type of records you can find in this place, because I had no idea that this existed, and looking it up on Discogate is a bit of a valuable record. So these are the types of records that you can find in this amazing record store. All right, so thank you for coming record shopping with me to Oakland. Now everyone back into the car, we're going back to San Francisco. All right, so that's it for today's episode. Please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. On the next episode, I'm gonna look at the records in my collection that have increased the most in value. Until then, tack och adjö.